He may not have been a household name, but this steady blue liner certainly made an impact in Boston sports. Mike Mottau was a three-time All-Star and won the Hobey Baker in 2000 at Boston College. Now you can find Mike assisting in the construction business here at Sunrise Erectors. So guess what? You're going to need a hard hat as Outside the Fame gets started right now. Mike Mottau was a Boston Bruin for 6 games in 2012, but it feels like he has always been part of the Bruins family. He grew up in Avon, Massachusetts before skating 4 years at Boston College. After 14 years as a professional hockey player, the always hardworking Mottau is today just as active. He coaches youth hockey, he has a podcast, and he is working construction for Sunrise Erectors. I recently sat down with Mike Mottau to talk about his many jobs, but we started by highlighting his very successful years as a BC Eagle. It was good for you there.
Oh yeah, it was great. We were actually under 500 my freshman year, and then the following year, sophomore year, we went to the national championship, and it was in Boston. Lost in overtime, unfortunately, to Michigan, but it did help to have guys like Brian Gianta and Scott Clemenson come in as freshmen. So we turned the program around pretty quickly, and that's something my teammates are very proud of.
I mean, your senior year, obviously a stellar year for you, taking home that Hobey Baker Award. Tell me what that honor was like for you.
Again, you don't set out to win individual awards. The national championship.
But somebody's got to win it, Mike.
Yeah. So we had a great team, and we really positioned ourselves well to put ourselves in that spot to win a championship that year. We were in Providence, so another home game, pretty much, and fell a little short. We lost to North Dakota that year, but in between the semis and the finals, they announced the Hobey Baker, and there was 3 of us up for it on my team: Brian Gianta, Jeff Farkas, and myself. Coach York came in and was like, "Hey, Motts won the Hobey Baker," and everyone just jumped up and hugs and stuff. So it was very emotional because it was unexpected.
You left Boston College as the all-time assist leader. Now you talk about it's a team sport and stuff. That's totally unselfish. So that's not as an individual award, but you're still up there as the all-time assist leader. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, but that's
a long time standing.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you have good teammates, you surround yourself with good players, and you just do your part. I didn't have the hardest shot, so I just throw a little muffin to the net, and guys would tip it, hit the rebounds in. But yeah, no, that's kind of a cool stat to have. But someone will come along and break it, and it'll be great.
Moving on to the pros, you got drafted by the Rangers, and do you remember that first game, kind of making the transition from college to the pros?
I do, yeah. It was during the Subway Series, Yankees, Mets, and I got interviewed in between periods, and Sam Rosen was like, "Who are you rooting for? Yankees or Mets?" I'm like, "The Sox."
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So it was
being an Avon, Massachusetts native.
But it was a great experience. It's a dream come true to play in the NHL, and that first time getting out there, and it was quite a thrill playing with some of the top players from the Rangers some of them had won the Cup: Mike Richter, Mark Messier, Brian Leach.
Wow.
So it was an amazing experience.
Another BC guy.
Yeah.
Brian Leach. So 14 years, 6 teams with the AHL, 9 teams with the NHL.
So you would call that a suitcase.
You get a lot of travel miles.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so early on, it was with the Rangers, and I just couldn't get my footing to be a regular NHLer, and I had to put some time in the minors and really find my game. I don't think I was truly ready to be in the NHL either. But I never reserved myself to be in a minor leaguer, and worked out extremely hard, and my parents and my father instilled a very good work ethic. So just preparing yourself, and then when that opportunity came, I was prepared. So opportunity and preparation came together, and I was able to make the Devils out of training camp in 2007. And Brent Sutter gave me an opportunity as a coach who believed in me, my skill level, compete, hockey intellect, as well as Lou Lamoriello. So I owe a lot to them. So that kind of set me off on the NHL, as a full-time NHLer. Those years were really fun. We were part of the community in New Jersey, and just like I said, looking back, some great friendships and had some good success on the ice.
And then skip ahead a couple years from there, 2012, I believe February, I'm not sure of the day, but what was that day like for you? I mean, I can't even imagine as a guy who grew up in Massachusetts.
So we were in Washington. I was playing with the New York Islanders, and I got a call from my coach, and I was like, I don't know what he's calling me for, but it was like 2 minutes.
You had to pick it up, though.
I did. So he's like, hey, Motts, the organization's traded you to, and the call dropped.
No way.
So I had no clue. He calls back, and he's like, to Boston. And I was like, can you pull over, please? So I had to get out, take a cab back to the hotel, called my wife, Courtney, and she didn't believe me. But she packed up a full house and 4 kids and pretty much beat me back to Boston.
Oh my gosh. I mean, what was going through your mind when you're like, really? Like the Boston Bruins? I mean, had to have been a childhood dream from a kid who grew up in Massachusetts.
It really was, and I couldn't believe it myself. And then just being able to put on that spoke to be, and I was always pretending to be Ray Bohr, Cam Neely in the driveway, shooting tennis balls against the garage door, and to be able to get into Boston the next day and play, it was amazing.
You played 8 games, I believe, with the Bruins, but as the saying goes, once a Bruin, always a Bruin. That's something that no one can ever take away from you.
So being there, it was a couple playoff games and I think 6 regular season games, but at that point in my career, I didn't mind being out of the lineup. It takes some time and some experience and some maturity to be a pro like that, to be ready for when you're called on. But you're in Boston. When I was in the lineup, I was pumped. I wanted the puck on my stick. You didn't want to be out there playing nervous, and it was just a really good experience.
Coming up next on Outside the Fame, Mike's retirement from the NHL has not slowed him down one bit. We'll take a look at some of the jobs and activities that occupy his time these days. This episode of Outside the Fame is brought to you by Kenco Development. Trust is just one of the things we build well. After a 14-year pro hockey career, Mike Mottau retired in 2014 and settled in the Boston area with his wife and 4 children. As he has always done, he went right back to work.
I was at Morgan Stanley for 3 years, and then I had a conversation with one of my good friends, Andy Erickson, from Sunrise Erectors, and he asked me if I would be interested to see what they do, and I've been here for 6 years now.
Sunrise specializes in facades of buildings. They currently are working on both the new addition at County Forum at Mike's alma mater, Boston College, and the multi-million-dollar renovation at Gillette Stadium, where Mike and the crew were able to give us a sneak peek.
See on the left side of the lighthouse here, we're putting in these finished trim covers to make sure that it looks uniform all the way across.
And what about the guys way up on top of the what's going to be the lighthouse when it's finished product?
So they're doing the steel connection, so when our scope of work comes to that area, will glass similar to the curtain wall that you see here going around. There'll be a glass railing, and then on top of that, to top off the lighthouse, is an ACM panel. It's an aluminum composite material, so it'll be a nice finish up there.
So tell me what your role is here at Sunrise.
So for 2 years, or just under 2 years, I was in the field. I got into the ironworkers union and installed windows on a 18-story building over by the garden. My dad had a small residential construction business, and I was always around job sites growing up, but this is just a little larger scale. It's really important for me to see what the Sunrise culture was all about, number one, and then see, the logistics of that size of a site. And I loved getting up early and getting to the site, and it was the closest thing to a locker room I could get to. It was that immediate gratification after the day is done of seeing what the work you put in. You're working within a team, within Sunrise, and also within the overall team with the GC that's on that job.
So it's nice that you can kind of take your hockey career and transform it into the construction business.
I think the synergies are real because, we talk about, some of those organizations I played for, and the best organizations I played for, there was a chain of command from GM to coach to players. It's not unlike the job site where the GM would be, say, the developer, the coach would be the GC, the general contractor, and then the players are the subs, and we're a subcontractor to the GC. And some of the main attributes of a good organization or a good site are communication and accountability. And you have our scope of work that we hold ourselves accountable, we expect to be held accountable, and that's just delivering a quality installed product on time within the budget.
Now we're here with David Mottau-who, and he's the GC from Suffolk, actually, on this gigantic project. And David, just tell us about, now that we're inside, like what's going on here. Seems like a lot of work's going on.
Yes, so this level is the club level. Overlooks the field. It's 3 stories high atrium. It'll have a couple bars down each end, and it's a vent space, place where you can see the game in the winter. And then it features right in the middle of the lighthouse. 2 elevators that'll go all the way up to the observation deck. That's all glass up there too. You have 360-degree view. You can see Providence, Boston, and Worcester all from that vantage point. So it's pretty amazing. It's 220 feet to the deck of the lighthouse.
At the center of it all, coming soon, a 370 by 60 foot video board, which will be the largest in North America.
My role as business development is really trying to get out in front of the projects and be a vertical resource for the project managers, the estimators. They work really hard at putting these proposals together, deepening relationships from the GCs, finding new ones, and then talking to the developers as well. So being out in the city and around these projects, it's very rewarding, and you can see the work that the company has put in.
We've got to get you cleaning some windows though.
Those windows are seriously dirty. I don't know who's going to clean those after, but apparently I was talking to the GC, Dave, and he told me that they're going to clean them once and then they're on their own.
That's right.
Stay with us on Outside the Fame. Mike Mottau may be deep in the world of construction, but he still needs his hockey fix.
Work that you can work on. Skating's the most important thing in hockey.
Fans, we ask that you please direct your attention to the Conti Forum rafters as we officially unveil Mike Mottau's jersey, which will hang alongside other Eagle greats forever.
BC retired your jersey, and you got to come back. What was that like?
You don't think that you're going to get emotional, but once they drop that, black top and you see it, it was pretty cool, actually, So, and people always go in to watch games and take pictures and send them, and so it's quite an honor.
Well, it's nice to have your kids be able to see that too. They're pretty proud of their dad. Mike Mottau may have traded in his skates for a hard hat, but he hasn't left the hockey world. He often skates with the Bruins Alumni team. He's an analyst for college hockey, and along with Brian Yandel, he hosts a podcast called The Rink Shrinks.
Yeah, this is great. Episode 100, we wanted to make it special. And you guys,
couple legends.
Yeah, legends. Yeah, we started a couple of years ago, and Brian Yandel was the original Rink Shrink.
Okay.
So he was a recurring guest on Spit and Chicklets.
Okay.
Because he was dealing with some crazy hockey parents. So it started out as a little bit of a joke, as like a little character, and then we kind of transformed it into this podcast. It's the participation from the youth around the area is really one of the big things that Bobby did for the game. We get some great guests. It's a PG educational podcast about developmental path and kind of helping parents, maybe new to the game, navigate the youth hockey space, really.
Oh, nice.
And it's been great. It keeps you in the game. We have, some really good guests, like some Hall of Famers from, like Ray Bork, Brian Leach, to, some coaches that, have some value to give to these parents. And so we try to target, the kids, the parents, and coaches. So we do a mailbag episode where people send in questions, and then we have a guest, so it alternates every other week.
Where can all those hockey parents listen so they can get the education of Mike and Brian?
So it's called the Rink Shrinks. It's on Apple Music and on Spotify. So, originally I never really listened to podcasts, but now that I have one, I kind of dabble around. And
Yep.
so it's
Nothing compares to Rink Shrinks.
Yeah, it's really good when you're driving to the rink. So it comes out every Friday morning, driving to the rink with your kids in the car.
And when you get to the rink, you might just see Mike Mottau coaching your kid. We'll take a look at that when we return to Outside the Fame. Now I'm here with Jayme Parker, owner of Kenco Development. Thank you, Shane, for coming.
No problem.
Just first tell us about what Kenco Development is.
So Kenco Development is a commercial general contractor. We're based out of Wakefield, Mass. We specialize in all sorts of commercial construction, including healthcare, medical, dental, retail, restaurant, schools, industrial, and lately we've been doing some cannabis cultivation work and dispensaries throughout the state of Massachusetts.
How did you get started? I know this is kind of an interesting, great story, which I looked up.
Yeah, so I've done construction my whole life. Went to college for construction management. Started the company when I was 26. I actually borrowed money from my mom to pay for the insurance I needed to pull permits. I named the company after my grandfather, Kenco. He's a huge part of my life. And I hired my brother, Todd, who is now my vice president.
One thing I do know about you and your company is that you guys really stress giving back. Just tell us about some of the things that you have done.
Yeah, well, giving back is a huge part of my life. I grew up playing sports, so not only do I try to coach, but at Kenco we sponsor as many teams as we can for youth programs. From a young age, you're taught to give back, and that's something I've lived by, and I think ultimately is what was kind of the foundation that led to Noah's Way.
Tell us about Noah first and what you started in his name.
Yeah, so Noah's Way is a charitable organization that I founded in 2020 after my brother Todd had a child with Down syndrome. Seeing firsthand the difficulties of having a child with Down syndrome and the financial burden that you have to take on by having a kid with that type of disability. We have multiple events a year, including golf tournaments, and 100% of the proceeds are donated to families with Down syndrome. That's a big deal to us, and we're very proud of it. And we want to keep raising money, and so anybody out there that has a child with Down syndrome that's in need or just wants to general donate to the organization, you can visit our website. And there's also applications for families, and I urge you guys to visit.
Shane and Kenco donate to many youth sports teams, including hockey programs. Motts remembers his days as a kid playing hockey in New England, and now he's passing along his knowledge of the game here at the Burbank Ice Arena in Reading, Massachusetts.
All right, guys, thanks for having me out here. My name is Mike Mottau. I grew up in the area. I did briefly with the Bruins.
Wait, did you play with Bobby Moore?
Wow, you think he's that old? I don't blame you.
I love it. I mean, the game provided me with so much, whether it be friendships, work ethic, how to work within a team, how to deal with ups and downs, and those are skills that you can apply well outside of the sport. And, I have 4 kids myself, and 2 of them are still playing hockey.
Nice. And are you their coach?
Yes. So that's,
Are you a tough coach? What kind of coach is Mike Mottau?
I think it's more like in practice, I want them to pay attention, things that they can control. Pay attention to the details of why you're doing the drill, because I'm constructing it in a certain way so it applies to a game.
I want you to skate as fast as you can. Do a Superman slide across the blue line. Go, 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 slide. Nice. Go. Good job. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Get on that belly.
I'm not sure the purpose behind the Superman slide. I'm not sure what that is.
So you're gonna do this circle, then you're gonna go over and do the other circle, and then end up in that corner. Next 3, go. Go. Turn that chest towards the dot.
I had some really good coaches growing up, and I still use a lot of those concepts and those drills. because the game's the game, and then you can have the foundation and the basics, and then as the level goes up, then you kind of add a little bit more detail to that.
Again, it's very important for younger kids to get on their outside edges. She's doing a really good job right here.
Of course the girls are kicking it. Yes.
It's so good. So you got to come up here around each tire.
I wouldn't say I'm a yeller or a screamer or anything, but I do like the details of drills and the details in games that make a big difference.
Oh, what a save! All right, guys, we're gonna do a relay race. On your marks, get set. Go, 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 go. Right back, right back. Superman. Let's go.
So although Mike Mottau is a man of many careers, his heart will always be with the sport where he reached the highest level.
The sport of hockey lends itself to a certain characteristic, and it's that unselfish, selfless attitude, good work ethic, and like I said, it's given me everything that I have today.
Thanks, guys. Right here.
Give him high fives, everybody. Woo! This episode of Outside the Fame is brought to you by Kenco Development. Trust is just one of the things we build well.